Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I am Firdaus Anjum, Senior Teacher of Adamji Cantonment Public School. I hope all of you are doing well by the mercy of Allah. Students, please take out your copies. Now look at the picture. There is a heart and a brain. The heart and the brain, they work together to win the race. This picture is a very interesting and simple example of coordination. Today we will discuss about human coordination and secretion. Students, by the end of today's chapter, you will be able to explain the function of the nervous system, and you will also be able to explain the coordination in man. Now we will learn about nervous system. The system of an animal body which maintains the communication between different organs. It also coordinates the functions of all other systems and responds to stimuli in order to keep harmony with the environment is called the nervous system. Then comes the brain. Brain is the main part of the nervous system. I'm sure all of you know that the brain controls us. The brain of a man is the most developed one amongst all animals. The nervous system is a highly complex part of an animal that coordinates its actions and sensory information by transmitting signals to and from different part of its body. Nerve cell or neuron. Nerve cells are called neurons. The structural and functional unit of the nervous system is called the nerve cell or neuron. A neuron is the longest cell of the body. There is no other cell that is longer than the neuron. Look at the right. This is the proper definite picture of a nerve cell. This picture shows synapse, axon, cell body, nucleus, dendrites. It is also labeled. Okay, moving on. Different parts of neuron. A typical neuron is mainly divided into two parts. Number one, cell body, and number two, the processes. Okay, let's learn about the cell body. The cell body is the spherical part of the neuron that contains the nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. Nerve cells have no central, so they cannot divide like other cells. The cell body is the main part of the neuron. The cell body may be different shapes, for example, round, oval, or star shaped. So basically, the neuron, which consists the cell body, it can be of different shapes. The cell body is composed of cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. Nerve cells have no centriole, so they cannot divide like other cells. The processes. The extended portion of the cell body is called processes. As you have seen in the picture before, that there is this main body part and then there's this tail-like extension. The tail-like extension is called processes. The processes are of two types. Number one, axon, and number two, dendron. An axon or nerve fiber is a long, slender projection of a nerve cell or neuron. In vertebrates, that typically conducts electrical impulses away from the nerve cell body. And dendron, it is a short branch-like structure which is located at the end of a nerve cell. The dendron receives signals from other cells and transmits them to the cell body. This is basically a communication method. Synapse. It is also called neuronal junction. It is the site of transmission of electric nerve impulses between two nerve cells, which is neurons, or between a neuron and a gland or muscle cell, which is effector. A synaptic connection between a neuron and a muscle cell is called a neuromuscular junction. Look at the picture in the right. It will show how the impulses move from one axon to another. As you can see, there are neurotransmitters, presynaptic terminal, and then in the middle the synaptic cleft, and the purple one is the receptor, postsynaptic terminal. So before synaptic terminal and after synaptic terminal. Let's go in the depth of brain. The brain, look at the picture in the right, it is interesting. Okay. The nervous system consists of mainly three parts, namely, number 1, central nervous system, number 2, peripheral nervous system, and number 3, autonomic nervous system. The central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Brain is the sole controlling agent of the whole nervous system. Human brain is contained and protected within the skull. Brain is covered by 3 layers of membrane called meninges. The brain is one of the largest and most complex organs in the human body. It is made up of more than 100 billion nerves that communicate in trillions of connections. The brain is made up of many specialized cells that work together. Look at the right. There are 2 pictures. Starting from the bottom, it starts with the spinal cord. As you all know, the spinal cord is connected up to the brain stem. There is the cortex, the cranium. The cranium is what protects our brain. There is basal ganglia, the cerebellum, the brain stem, and dura. And on the right, there are 4 different lobes. The human brain is contained and protected within the skull. Human brain has 3 major parts. Number 1, cerebrum, which is the forebrain. Number 2, midbrain. And number 3, hindbrain, consisting of 3 parts, cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. The cerebrum is the main part of human brain. It consists of 2 incompletely divided lobes, the right and the left cerebral hemisphere. The 2 hemispheres are connected to each other by a broad tract of nerve fibers. The exterior surface of the cerebrum, the cerebral cortex, is a convoluted or folded grayish layer of cell bodies or neurons known as the gray matter. The gray matter covers an underlying mass of fibers or axon called the white matter. Then let's learn about midbrain. The area between cerebrum and pons is called the midbrain. Its function as center for auditory and visual reflection. Then hindbrain. The main function of hindbrain is to maintain the balance of the body. The spinal cord is a long, thin, tubular structure made up of nervous tissue which extends from the medulla oblongata in the brainstem to the lumbar region of the vertebral column. If you look at the right, the red part, that is the entire spinal cord. If you touch your body on the back, you can feel your spinal cord. The exterior of your spinal cord can be felt from the body. Look at the picture. How reflex action works is given elaborately. First, let's read and understand the reflex action. A reflex or reflex action is an involuntary and nearly instantaneous movement in response to a stimulus. A reflex is made possible by neutral pathways called reflex arcs, which can act on the impulse before that impulse reaches the brain. Reflex actions are usually conveyed through spinal cord by a path called reflex arc. A reflex arc has the following constituents. 1. Receptor, which is the sensory organ. Number 2. Sensory, which is afferent nerve. Number 3. Interneurons. Number 4. Motor, which is efferent nerve. And number 5. Effector organ. On the right, it is described how the reflex action works in elaborated. Students, after you complete your lesson, you will be able to answer the following questions. Please solve the homework. Question number 1. What is neuron? Question number 2. What do you mean by reflex action? Question number 3. Describe a nerve cell along with a diagram. And question number 4. Write the functions of the brain and its parts. That is it, students, for today. Thank you. Take care and stay safe. Allah Hafiz.